Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update. I know this video is not on a Friday and it's later than it was supposed to be, but that is because I have not been stitching a ton since summer started. So since my last video, my kids got out of school. During that time since they've got out of school, we went to the drive-in, which is like an all-day thing because it's like an hour and a half away from here, and then we get there early because they have an arcade and go-karts and stuff like that, so it's like an all-day thing if you go there. And then the movie doesn't start until, you know, after dark, so it didn't start until like almost 10 o'clock. So yeah, it's like an all-day thing if I go to the drive-in. But we saw Inside Out 2, which was a great movie. I loved that movie. And we've also went to the library a couple times, so I have books. I actually read physical books because now that the weather is hot, I really like to go outside and read real books and not listen to audiobooks. And then I went to a yarn store in Bellingham called Northwest Yarns, and I have yarn, so I have yarn to show. So I have knitting that I need to be doing eventually this summer. So the first thing I will do is start off with my cross stitch projects though, and like I said, it's only 3 projects. It's not going to take that long, and they did not get a ton of work done on them. The first one that I will show is Medina Gates, which is a Game of Thrones themed chart, and it's from Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. I think Cross Stitch the Globe is their Etsy shop, and Stephanie is a travel photographer and has taken some of the photos that she has taken and converted them into cross stitch. And this is one that is Game of Thrones themed because it is a real life location where Game of Thrones was filmed, and I have been working on this chart when I watch House of the Dragon, which has started. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I'm loving it so far. I hate having to wait a week in between episodes though. Like that's the one negative with HBO shows versus like Netflix. Is on Netflix you can just keep going, and then on HBO you're like waiting weekly to see what's gonna happen next. But I'm loving it. I hate Alicent so much and her children, but you know, I think that's just a common theme amongst most people. Anyways, so here is Medina Gate. It's like I said, it's kind of hard to see the progress on this because a lot of it was doing this light color that is part of the sky, but I have finished this first 10 by 10 block is completely finished across the top row. So I have been stitching this one going row by row. So I'll do 1 row going across of the light color. Then when I get to the end, I will do the other colors, and then I will just park them in the next row down. And so that's how I've been working this so far. I am getting to a point though where there's going to be less sky, so I think right here is going to be like the start of some buildings over on this side, and so then the sky will just kind of be like in this middle chunk. So there will be less of it, which will make it, you know, a little bit funner to stitch. There will be more to see hopefully the next time I show it. This is being stitched on a 16 count fabric, 2/1 full cross, because these charts are charted so that if you stitch them on a 16 count, they will be they will fit inside of a normal picture frame. So I think this will fit into like an 8 by 10 picture frame, so it will be easy to frame once it is completed. So there is this one. And then the other chart that I will show is Autumn Harmony. It has not had that much done since the last time that I worked on it. I am still on track to meet my goal for her in June because I did do extra at the beginning of June. I kind of knew that once school got over that I would not stitch as much, so I was really trying to do a lot of stitching right before school got out. So I think before school got out, I had 4,000 stitches done on her already. I wanted to do 5,000 every month, and so I have since done another like 500 stitches, so I only need to do 500 more and then I will meet my goal on her, and I still have a few more days left in June, so this will be fine. I think I'll still meet my goal on her. I don't think I'm going to meet my goal on like any other chart this month though, just because it's been, you know, busy month, plus like I said, the weather, it's getting nice, so I kind of want to be outside while it is nice and, you know, do the stuff like that. So Autumn Harmony, I was just filling in more of the colors on this side by her face. I think I was actually doing more like the colors right in her face here, and that's all I've done. And this is on 18 count 2/1 full cross. I would like to get to, what is it, 60,000 stitches done on her this year, so that next year I can get her finished. And here is where she is so far. I think that next month I will most likely just keep on filling in this section, trying to get up to the top, and then work my way over across the top of her head and actually get like an area kind of completely filled in before moving on to a different area. And then the last chart that I have to show is Whip Go. So actually, I will have met my WIPGO goals because I already finished one of my WIPGO goals earlier in the month, and then I did meet the other WIPGO goal since my last video. So I was working on Disneyland map, which was one of my WIPGO projects. My goal for each WIPGO piece is to do 1,000 stitches. I had already done 500 stitches previously, so I only needed to do another 500, and I did. So here is Disneyland map and where it is now. I was working on filling in more in this section here where I think it's like gonna be the roof, just because this was easy to fill in because it was only a few different colors of blue, whereas on this part of the castle, the lower part, it has a lot of color changes in it. Even though it doesn't really look like it would, it does. There's a lot of light colors that go into making the shading on these castle walls, so I worked up here because it was quicker. And this is on a 16 count 2/1 full cross, and I still love this. I just love it. It was also kind of sad because like last year, I had purchased this chart last year, probably in like June or July, because I was going to Disneyland in July last year. So now stitching on it is kind of like a little bit like, because I'm not going to Disneyland this year. And it's like, I always want to go to Disneyland. Always. So that's all of my cross stitch. So the next thing I will talk about is yarn. I will talk about actual knitting projects first. So I have one project that I'm actually working on, which is a boomerang shawl. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I will link it in the description box. And I had started it previously, and I was doing it with these two colors plus a color that I had gotten from a person who has yarn at the farmer's market, and I actually ran out of the one color, and I thought about just ending the shawl there, you know, just having it be like a smaller one that you just kind of wrap around your neck. But then I went to the farmer's market and there was more yarn, and so I ended up purchasing another one, and it's different colors, but the colors kind of still go, because the one that I had previously had like a lot of red and yellows, and these are they're different shades of red and yellow and green, but it's still the similar like color family. So I was like, I'll just add this and then it will go from one color to the next. And so, whoa, there's yarn everywhere though. When you are working with 3 things of yarn at a time, they get so tangled up sometimes, and it is a mess sometimes, but I'm trying to get them all untangled. So here is the shawl so far. These are the original colors that I had started with. The green is held together with this lighter color. The lighter color is discontinued. The green is from Leviathan Fibers, which is from Northwest Yarns in Bellingham. You can order their yarn online, I think. And then the multicolored one, with like the oranges and stuff, is the one from the farmer's market from, I think it's Hedgerow Willows Farm. And they have sheep, and then they sell their yarn. So there it is. It's getting bigger. So there's the whole thing. And then here is where I have added in the new one. So you can kind of tell that it goes from being more like brighter colors here to kind of more like a muted neutrally palette. But I think it will be fine because it's a shawl. It'll keep me nice and warm. Like, because I'm using like size 10 needles, and this is like a thick kind of bulky yarn, it is very like cushy and nice feeling. So I am very excited to have this for the winter. And then I ended up going into Northwest Yarns in Bellingham, and I went shopping because there was a yarn company there that I had been looking at online, and the yarn company is Geektastic Fibers. So it is a yarn company, and they dye their yarn to have all kind of like geeky names. So like some of it's like anime, some of it's books, they have a ton of stuff. And so I saw that this company was going to be at Northwest Yarns, so I was like, I have to go, and I ended up buying so much. So I ended up getting 2 of their self-striping sock yarns. So I got this one here, and this one's for me. I picked this one out, and this is in the colorway Charm Offensive, which is a book. I haven't read it yet, but I will most likely end up reading it. And I just thought the colors were really pretty, and I really wanted to use a self-striping yarn for some socks because, you know, I'm obsessed with socks now. So, and it also has stellina. I don't know if you can tell that it's sparkly, but it's got sparkly bits in it, so that will be really fun to knit. And then my daughter was with me, and so she picked out a yarn, and this is the yarn she picked. I already caked it up because I will most likely use this soon. And she picked one. They had a table where it's Pride Month, so they had a table with some of their Pride yarns, and so this one is the Trans Pride flag, and it has like a fun wrapper, you know, where it says love is love. The wrapper on it is great, and it has like the rainbow down here. So she picked out this one, and it's either going to be socks, or I mentioned the idea of leg warmers because it's almost like a sock, but it's easier than a sock. So I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but it'll be either socks or leg warmers. And I will most likely make those soon, so she has them. And then I also picked out, there's one more missing. Oh, okay, it's right in my lap. So I ended up picking out yarn. I don't have a specific top in mind yet, but they had this yarn here. It's called Morgana, and I loved the colors on this because it's like purples and it has some blues in it too. And they also had it in a mohair, and I have really been wanting to make a top from, I think it's Fable Knitwear, I'm not sure what it is, but most of their tops you're supposed to hold the yarn with mohair. So I got these so that I can make a top from that company, but I'm not sure yet which top I want to make. They have vests that I kind of want to make a vest, but I'm also kind of like, will I wear a vest? Because I don't have a vest, so I don't actually know, am I a vest person? So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make, but it will be a top of some sort, and I'm really excited because these colors, I love the colors. Like there's like blues that you can kind of see right in there, and like purples, and I just love it. There's kind of like pinks. It's all colors that I love, and so I got that because it was like the company, the dyer wasn't going to be there, you know, they were just there for the day. I wanted to get what I could because it's fun to see it in person, because I had looked at the yarn previously online, but then seeing it in person is just a lot funner. You can actually like touch it and you see it, and the colors are amazing. They also had one that I kind of wish I had got, and it was like anime food or something like that. So the colors on it were like greens and stuff, because like in a lot of anime they're usually eating like sushi and like ramen and things like that, and so it was like the colors of food in anime, and that was really fun. But also, I didn't want to buy all the yarn because that would be very expensive. Anyways, so that was all the yarn, and then books. So far I have read 2 books. I have read Verity, which is Colleen Hoover. I feel like this is an older-ish book, like 2019, something like that. And I've heard people talk about it a lot, and it seems like people either love it or hate it. And I kind of am like in the middle. And the reason I say that is because the book itself, I don't like reviewing books because I feel like everyone has such different opinions of books that it's kind of hard to review it. But my thoughts, just my thoughts, is the book itself was good. And the fact that I read this book in like a day, I did not want to put it down because I wanted to know what was going to happen, because the book is about an author who is injured, and so they hire another author to finish a series of books that this other author had written. And the author who steps in to write the books finds this autobiography, and so it's going back and forth. You're reading like a chapter of this autobiography, and then you're going back into like the real time, and I kept wanting to know what is happening in this autobiography, and so I just kept reading. I did not like the ending. I think the ending was like rushed. I did not like where it went. Didn't like it at all. But the book itself, like I said, I could not put it down, so I feel like that itself is like decent-ish. So there was that one. And then I also read The Hacienda, and this one is a different type of book that I normally read. It was scary. I will say that. Like, there was nothing like super, okay, that's a lie. There was some parts that I think were kind of gross. But it is, what was the term of this? Like, it's a Mexican Gothic horror. And so the book takes place in like 1800s in Mexico. This girl, her dad had died in the war, and they were on like the wrong side, and so like she's kind of like outcast, and so she marries this guy just so that she has a place that's like her own, because she was living with her relatives who did not like her. And the house is haunted. The guy that she married had a previous wife. No one really knows what happened to her, and so it's like, what happened to the wife? There's like creepy haunted house, and then she finds a priest to try and help cleanse the house. And so yeah, it was kind of spooky. It was good though, and so yeah, 2 good books. But that is all that I read, and now I need to pick another book. I have a couple audiobooks, and so I really need to start knitting or something, because when I listen to an audiobook, I need to be doing something with my hands, otherwise I can't focus on the book. But I do have, I think, The Throne of Glass, the first book in that series. I don't know. There's too many like Sarah J Maas series that I'm trying to keep track of. And so yeah, I have Throne of Glass as an audiobook, so I need to start listening to that. But I need to also work on something. So I will probably work on my shawl or maybe start the leg warmers, which I need to find a leg warmers pattern if I am going to make those. But that is all that I have for this video. Thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And hopefully I will be back next time with a little bit more cross stitching. Bye!